Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Kay, and I am here today to give you guys a review for All American Season 3, Episode 6, New Normal. I did have a full review, a full reaction recorded, but watching back, I just was not feeling it. So I'm just gonna, do this the way I did it last week. Maybe I do my reaction. Maybe I bring my reactions back next episode. Where do I want to start? I just want to start by saying that out of 10, I would give this episode about an 8. And I did see my cousins. I saw y'all talking online last night on Twitter. And I saw that a lot of people felt a lot of ways. And I still feel those same ways. But like if I get over what I wanted to be and what I wanted it to be and just look at the episode for what it was, I gave it an 8 because of the content of what was going on. I don't know how many weeks. I probably said till the end of this season, even though this season is the last season for All American Homecoming. I'm not here for Simone's cancer storyline. I'm just not, and I don't like it. But this is the hand that we have been dealt, and so I'm just gonna have to go with what cards I've been given. So just to deal with Simone, I know the episode started off with Simone, it looked like to me she was having like a routine, like she was waking up every morning and going about her day. And then we kind of see her look start to change. So we started to notice that she was looking more sickly and that she even had a scarf on because like her hair had came out. And then like she walked up to the wall and she saw herself on the wall in the Brinkston like student union or wherever it is their little hangout spot is on campus. And it said in memoriam of Simone Hicks. Now that right there was kind of, a little bit of a shakeup because, when we look at the walls, the wall isn't in theory a memoriam, but it is a wall that, highlights talented Black people who went to HBCUs or whatever like that. And then Simone wakes up. And so I know a lot of people were saying that it was nightmares, but I didn't necessarily feel like Simone was having nightmares. To me, it was more so like, how like when you go to sleep and you got a lot on your mind. And so she was just worried. And, Simone deals with anxiety and panic sometimes. And so she just has a lot on her plate right now, is what I'm trying to say. And she wants support and she's allowing people to support her, but she also doesn't want to be a burden to people. And so I think that weighs a lot on her as well because she did mention Coach Lonnie not knowing, her mom not knowing, and Auntie not knowing. And because she said they have so many things going on, so many amazing things going on in their life that she don't want them to have to stop everything they have going on to try to come to her aid. And so it sounds selfless, but it's still hard for her because, she tells Auntie everything. Simone was on the mend with her mom. And then, like Coach, she doesn't want Coach Lonnie to redshirt her. And so in my initial video, I made a statement about society doesn't have to me enough of a conversation, at least that I see, where we discuss, you know, how hard it is sometimes to be a supportive friend, and how sometimes when a friend is trying to be supportive, sometimes they do take on the burden of what that person is going through. And then sometimes with the grief, they may end up, you know, struggling with the grief, or sometimes they may even grieve harder than the person who's actually going through the situation. And to me, that's kind of what it seemed like with Nate and Keisha. Um, Simone wanted to keep her life as normal as possible. You know, it's her junior year. Tennis is something that's like near and dear to her heart. And with her finding out that, you know, it was stage 1 and she would have to have a lump removed, and then she have to go through weeks of radiation, that it may affect her tennis season as she knows it. And so she has like her fitness test coming up. Simone Simone lied to Coach Lonnie and said she had a study group, but she didn't. Simone, in addition to Simone going through this stuff with her cancer treatment, she's also taking fertility treatments because she wants to harvest her eggs, because there is a chance that her cancer will return later in life and be more aggressive. And so she wants to be a mom. She still wants to be married. So that's a lot to take on, you know, and a lot to think about as a young woman who's in college, who's playing sports, who has these goals. And then, you know, Simone talks to Thea, Nate, and Keisha about it. And Keisha is trying to keep it positive. And that's just her main thing. She wants to keep it positive. She doesn't want Simone to, even though she knows like Simone will be going through and she needs to be there for her, she wants to just be as supportive to Simone as she can. And so with Simone deciding to continue to play tennis throughout her treatment, like Simone was trying to rearrange her schedule so that she could have her operation early, so that she could start her treatment early, and so she should be done in time enough for tennis season to start in competitive play. And I ain't gonna hold you. I thought that Simone was making an unwise decision, and I felt that way because I just feel like, you know, in this society, we are so goal driven, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being goal driven. But we are so goal driven and work oriented in our lives that we forget to take time to take care of ourselves. And there's a lot of times where our physical health is lacking, our emotional health is lacking, and our mental health is lacking. And with Simone already being anxious, you know, she's experiencing a flood of emotions, and then the treatments. I mean, physically, she's already meeting challenges, and she hasn't even had her operation yet. It was just the biopsies, the I'm not gonna say the stress from the biopsies, but just the constant poking and prodding from the biopsies. She was already, you know, like we saw last episode, struggling to do the dance moves. Her swing was off. And so I felt like now was the time for Simone to just choose herself and take care of herself. And like that even made me have a reflective moment with myself, because like recently I have torn my ACL, and so I had like a few setbacks with like I had an overdevelopment of scar tissue. And so I ended up having to have a second surgery to get the scar tissue removed. And so now I'm healing from that. And so like I was on crutches for 5 months. And there was times where I missed hanging out. I missed going outside. I missed going shopping. I missed just being able to go and come as I please. And me being on crutches and me having the ice and go to therapy, go to rehab, all that stuff had altered my normal. And so I even had a time where I struggled with what my new normal was. I needed help to do everything. I needed help to even put on a shoe. And like one day, not to get too much of my business, but one day, like I was on my way to church and I just sat in a chair and I started crying because I couldn't even put my shoe on. It was just, because I couldn't even bend my knee enough to put my shoe on. And my husband was just like, well, just ask me for help. And I was just like, it's just the fact that I even have to ask for help. Like, you don't want to be a burden. And so, like, I had to make a conscious decision that I have to do what's necessary to take care of myself in order to give myself time to let my body heal and heal properly. And so that's the reason why myself, I wasn't in agreement with Simone continuing tennis. And honestly, I did, as a former athlete, I didn't really see the big deal in her possibly redshirting, because to me, it may be delayed, but it's not denied. Right now, this would have been her season to sit down, you know, grab her diagnosis by the horns and just beat it down. You know what I mean? But, some people deal with things differently, and that's, kind of the lesson that Nate's cousin Val said to her when they were having a conversation, because Nate just came out and told Simone how she felt. She was like, I do not support your decision, and I will not be there to, watch you run yourself into the ground. You need to choose your health first. This is your new normal. Things are changing. You need to be able to accept that. And so, even though that was a harsh truth that I feel like Simone needed to hear, it necessarily might not have been the time for Nate to say that, even though I agree with Nate. And so I think Nate's cousin said something along the lines of, you have to learn how to, because even with this situation, like she was dealing with her and her cousin, like she was just like, her cousin was like, there's gray areas in life sometimes. Everything is not black and white. Everything is not going to pan out the way you want to. And you're going to run people away, by not, supporting them and thinking that you're right all the time. And because things don't go your way, you want to get mad. And, I felt like that was a fair assessment. Sometimes two things can be true. That could be true. And then they saying that, and not being supportive could have been true. I mean, two things can be true. I mean, it's just, it's a hard line to walk. It's a hard line to walk. And so, Simone just had to deal with that. And then, Thea, even had to come to terms with, asking Simone, like, girl, how are you going to do this? You lied to Coach Lonnie. You got to have this. Simone, you're struggling already. What is your plan? And even though, Thea is like very like, I guess for lack of better words, anal when it comes to training and fitness and taking tennis seriously, because tennis is something that she's so passionate about. She even had to give Simone space to just, figure things out and figure out her best way to support Simone, which was, she ended up telling Coach Lonnie that Simone was going, train with her trainer to, kind of get Coach Lonnie off her back about her, make sure she's staying in shape. That way Simone can get her treatment and get herself together without Coach Lonnie knowing. Even though I feel like Coach Lonnie's going to find out eventually. But, hey, maybe she won't. I don't know. And then the thing with Keisha, because Keisha already went through something similar like this with her mom, unfortunately, Simone's journey with cancer brought up a lot of, I wouldn't say unresolved feelings that she felt throughout her life about her mom, but it definitely rebought some of those things back up. And so, Keisha was young when her mother passed. But Keisha even mentioned that there were times where, it was mentioned to her by her mother that things will be all right, she'll be all right. And, her father said things would be all right. The doctors said everything would be all right. And her mom ended up losing her battle to cancer within 6 months. And so, like JR said, Keisha was kind of getting a front row seat to everything that her mama may have gone through. And so it was hard. Keisha was having feelings that she was having a problem. I wouldn't say a problem. I don't like that word. She was having feelings that she was having trouble with coming to terms with. And she was very emotional. And Keisha did, I feel like Netta played that part well. And I felt like Jeffrey played her part well in terms of like the story being told and everything that was going on. Nate too, because even when Nate was having disagreements with her cousin about, things that her cousin had said in the past, and this grudge, I wouldn't say, do I want to use the word grudge? There was, it to me, it was a grudge that Nate was holding, but she was just like, I have a friend, she's going through cancer and it's hard, like it just seems so much going on. And, I want to create room for reconciliation because there's so many other things in life that is going on besides us being mad at each other. And I think that was another recurring theme, in this episode, reconciliation. Nate reconciled with her cousin about things that she said in the past about her journey with being non-binary. And then, even with Nate finding out that her cousin was representing the guys who were accused of harming Ezra. And then, there was reconciliation between Nate and Simone, because Nate ended up throwing a family dinner to basically apologize to Simone about the things that she said, because she does want to be there to support Simone. And, even made a schedule and a meal prep plan on how they all could be there to support Simone. And I feel like the biggest thing throughout this whole episode, and I guess this season, that I'm noticing is that they're making more of an effort to be in each other's lives and to be each other's backbone. And I do like that, because last season, because, Nico, made a big deal about family dinner, Auntie was put in a position where it was a conflict of interest that she had to end family dinners. And so everybody was going through all these different things and life was happening and nobody knew what each other was going through. But now it seems like multiple people are being the voice of reason. It's even Lando. And I ain't gonna even hold you. I had beef with Lando. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, me and Lando had beef. But Lando was everybody's makeshift bestie this episode. Like, Lando was there for Simone to give Simone advice. Lando was there for Nate twice about what was going on with her and her cousin. And so, yeah, it was just, interesting to say the least. And then Cam was missing from this episode. And why y'all do that? Why y'all didn't have Cam in this episode? Because we don't know how far the timeline is in terms of how far Homecoming was into now. But Cam had been giving Keisha the cold shoulder and been real short with Keisha. And Keisha doesn't know where her and Cam stand. And so for that whole thing with Gabby and JR to happen, and Keisha setting up, because, hey, that went way better than I thought. I'm telling you right now, when Keisha and JR first started having their conversations about both of them being distant from their partners, I was like, oh, Lord, this is going to create the ultimate temptation for them to fall right into each other's claws and just sink their teeth in each other, because we do not want we the audience, we the AHC cousins, we do not want Jabrielle to be terminated. We don't really care about Kamisha like that, because some of us are rooting for Kamisha to fail is harsh. But We just think that Cam may be too good for Keisha sometimes. But I just knew that they was gonna fall. And the way that trailer looked, I was like, oh my gosh, JR gonna confess his love for Keisha, but that's not what happened. So JR basically was concerned about where his relationship was with Gabby, thank goodness. And he orchestrated a plan with Keisha in order to, just spend time and make a conscious effort to be more present for Gabby and to make sure that their relationship is still on the right track and for them to get back on the same page. Glad, we love to see it. Reconciliation again. Reconciliation again. We love reconciliation. And then I saw like something on Twitter last night where it looked like Keisha was eavesdropping on whatever JR and Gabby was talking about. But to me, Gabby and JR weren't really talking about nothing like that for real. And Keisha checked her phone to talk to Cam, but Cam's still egging Keisha right now. So, yeah. I really feel like, the Kamisha breakup is coming. Now, I will be surprised if it don't happen. Because, sometimes they have a tendency, they meaning the writers, have a tendency to make us think that something else is going on when in all actuality it's really nothing. And we get worked up over nothing and then nothing happens sometime. But, Keisha, I just feel like, Cam is not wrong for the way he feel, but the writers are messed up. That's where I was going with this. The writers are messed up because why would y'all have Cam search the internet to look for them videos to see JR in that background? Okay. For Keisha to be high and stuff, now it's making it look like Keisha and JR got something going on. And we don't address this the following episode. We don't even get anything. We just get a ice cold shoulder from Cam. That's all we got. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out next episode. So yeah, Simone got a lot on her plate. And not to mention the biggest overarching thing. Did I say that in the beginning of the video? Damon. Who, like, JR and David, they on FaceTime or nothing? So we just gonna have Damon be the love of Simone's life. We build up all this angst. He goes to the DR shattered because him and his relationship with Simone ended. And we got nothing. Damon just is a non-factor at this point. Damon is non-existent. We don't get no text messages from Damon. At least on Grownish, when Zoe was gone abroad or moved to another state, Aaron would talk to her on the phone. We would see Zoe's name pop up on the phone. And he would talk to her, we would see some text messages. Junior would have a text message with Zoe. We would have a FaceTime call every now and then. Like, no, Damon, just asked him, like, nothing. And I know for a fact, with every fiber of my being, that Damon would be devastated. And he might have jumped on the first plane back to United States from DR and taken Simone to every therapy appointment himself. Whew. But yeah, y'all, I think this episode was pretty fair. I think I give it an 8. Yeah, it was pretty solid, I like the themes of friendship, reconciliation, support. Even though sometimes supporting your loved ones could be hard, especially when they're having health issues. It's a lot. And so, yeah. I think I said all I need to say. Trying to think before I get off this here camera. If there's anything I'm forgetting, just leave me a comment down below, y'all. Leave me a comment down below. Let's chat. What did you think about the episode? And I will be back next Tuesday for more. This is